In this video, I am going to show how to set up the CiB software to start acquiring images. When you first start the software, you are presented with an option to use a wizard or configure the system manually. The first controls that will come up will be the industrial controls configuration. So in this example, I'm going to configure the barcode address to be at ST90 in a SLC 500 processor. As I press next, I'm given the option to test I/O, so I can test the I/O at this screen, and I can also select which mode I'm going to run the CiB in. So when I go to next, it'll ask me if I want a barcode scan first. If I press yes, the system will wait for a barcode scan to start the cycle. Then I can set the parsing. So I'm going to set the parsing 0 to 1 for sequence number and 2 to 3 for part number. I can press the test button and test the results. I can set the delay between receiving a start input and acquiring the images, which I set to 2 seconds. Press next and I can select where to store the acquired images, which in this case I'm going to set to store images. And now I can set up my cameras. So the first thing you do is name the camera that's in the list and select the resolution, which is by default usually set to the max resolution. You can select the file type, which defaults to JPEG, and then how frequently you want to check focus. In order to do the focus check, you need to store a master image. So you put an object in front of the camera and press Store Master. The focus score will be calculated and you'll be provided with a set of ranges for setting your in-focus ranges. The last question that you will get is whether or not you want to store the images to the SQL server. So when I push quit, I am now running the program, and if I press the grab button, it triggers an acquisition cycle which starts with barcode scanning. So I'm going to go to manual configuration now and kind of do the same thing. So if I hit the options button, I get into the manual configuration. You can see here you have access to the settings on all the cameras. So you go through and you select camera, your settings as far as resolution goes, name the camera. Note that if either the camera name and the camera number itself are empty, that particular acquisition will be skipped. So you can set up barcode scanning as well manually. This is really what I entered at the wizard. And you can test your settings here as well. So this is a good place to test a RS-232 scanner. Logging, really all you would do here is select whether or not you want to store the images to SQL. And you could also test the connection, which in this case my connection fails because I don't have it set up on the computer end. But all CiBs provided will be already set up with SQL. So if you want to set up industrial communications to read part numbers and trigger the test, you have to select the type, enter the IP address, set if you want to do parsing of the received barcode from the PLC, or just use the parsing that was already set up for barcode scanning. And then you can enter your addresses for your triggers and your cycle pass outputs. Cycle pass and cycle fail. So the addresses should be entered as shown in this image. You could also test your configuration down below. I'm not connected to a PLC right now, so if you were connected, test configuration would allow you to actually test whether or not you're able to communicate with these data addresses. So this is just some examples of the data types that you would enter. Of course, if you're doing a ControlLogix PLC, you would enter tag addresses instead. So this is a quick tutorial. So when done, I would press OK to save. In this case, I'm just going to cancel. And the program will reload your configuration. So if I grab again or trigger it using a sensor, you can see that I get the image. Now I'm going to close that program. And now my CiB is ready to acquire images. The next sections of the tutorial will be about setting up Vision Builder AI for doing vision inspection, as well as setting up the CiB to interface with the Vision Builder AI.